I'm gonna do a quick video on how I make an axe handle. A lot of people have been asking me questions on axe handles and stuff like that, so I figured I'd explain a little bit. 95% of the axes I make are handles that I buy, and I find vintage heads and I haft them, and that's usually my get down. And but every once in a while I make a handle. It takes a long time. It's pretty rewarding though. It's a lot of fun. So lately I've been making a few, and I figured I would take you guys through the process of how I make a handle. So I'll just get right to it. Today I'm making some white oak handles, some straight 28-inch white oak. This is the board I cut them off of. So basically I just laid this board down. I laid it down right here and I traced a handle, and I came out with a couple blanks. So here's my blanks. These are white oak. They're straight 28. And so basically, yeah, I take a board, I trace a handle, I cut it out, I get these blanks. And then if you notice the thickness of these boards, they call it 5/4. So it's a little bit over an inch. And that's a good width to start out with because there's less waste. There's less waste material when you start out with a thinner board instead of starting out with a really thick board and having to shave a bunch of wood down and take a bunch of wood away. You end up wasting a bunch. So I start with a 5/4 thick board, and then so the palm swell is not thick enough when you do this, so I laminate palm swells on here. And I got one all glued up, and I just put one in the vise right now. So you know, I'm making the board thicker down here because I want a flare. So all right, let me get a couple things ready and I'll turn the camera back on. All right, the next process is I use regular wedges to make the palm swell bigger. So I'll put a wedge on both sides like that and glue them on. So these are going to be the two. These are going to be the two wedges I use. This is apple wood. It's got kind of a cool color, and I'll glue both sides, get a bunch of glue on there, kind of even it all out. So I use lots of glue, and then I put one on each side. So that's gonna get my palm swell, like, you know, it's probably 2.5 inches thick now. And if I were to put this in the vise like this, it's tapered, and the vise wouldn't squeeze it equally. So what I do is I take more wedges and I stack them. I'll stack them like that, and then I'll put one underneath, and then I put a rubber band around them. I get them all lined up. And then I keep them all together with a rubber band. Make sure they're all lined up. Alright, now we'll put it in the vise. Okay, let's see if I can do this without bumping the camera. So, we're in the vise. And you'll notice when it squeezes, it's squeezing equally because I put those other wedges in there. And then I'll kind of crank it down, and I'll wait a little while, and I'll come back and crank on it again. This one might not turn out that well because there's a little gap right there. This, the main piece of the wood, the white oak, was like, it wasn't square right there. So that wedge isn't really lining up nice. I might sink the whole thing down in there farther to get more pressure right there. But if there is a gap right there, it'll be filled with glue. It'll look a little weird and I can kind of sand it out. I can fix it. This one's gonna turn out nice. So I gotta let that glue dry. So I'll turn the camera back on when I'm ready to get to the sander. The next process is trimming off all this stuff, and then I'll figure out what head I'm gonna put on it, and I'll fit the head on the eye, and then I'll shape the handle, and then do the fine detailing. Okay, next thing I do is I start fitting the eye. I'll use a draw knife, and I'll get the head fitted on there, and then I'll start shaping the handle. Okay, so I got most of the material off the eye. I'm gonna get ready to start fitting this head on there. I'm doing a plum rockaway. It's a pretty sweet plum rockaway, and I chose this head because it's not that tall. It's a shorter head, and when I cut these out, I only left so much room. So if you're going to be hanging something with a taller eye, like a Connecticut or a Tasmanian or something, when you cut out your blank, you're going to want to leave it higher so you have more room. This one has enough room, so that's why I went with this one. And so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim off the excess. And the first thing, what I just did, I just cut this and I made it real nice and flush. And then I'm going to take the angle grinder and I'm going to like round the edges, and then I'll take down these corners too with the angle grinder. Just barely take them down because I'm going to be hafting the head. I'm going to be holding it, and I just want to get those corners off of there. And I want to round this up. That way when I'm hitting it, I'm not chipping off these palm swells that I just glued on there. So let me get all that done and I'll turn the camera back on. Okay, I took down these corners so it's a little easier to hold. And I made a nice surface on the bottom to be hitting on. If I would have left those sharp edges, it would have been real easy to chip the sides of those off. So I kind of rounded it over both ways. Okay, I got the head fitted. Most of the way. I usually leave a little bit for the last hanging, or the last part of the hanging. But the majority of it, it's ready to go. So you can see the handle is still pretty square. So the next thing I do, I go over to the belt sander and I sand on this until I get it where I want it. And kind of my process is this is the front of the axe, and if you notice on a normal axe handle, the front of the axe will be tapered a little bit more and the back will be kind of fatter. So when I'm sanding, I'll take more down right here, more down right here, and leave the back kind of fat. An axe handle, if you were to cut through it and look at it, it's usually like an egg shape. So that's kind of what I'm going for. And I'll get the majority of the handle all roughed in, And then usually I come over to the vise and I'll dial in the palm swell with the angle grinder. And that's kind of the process that happens from here. So I'll set the camera up over on the sander and I'll put it on time lapse because it takes a while. All right, so this is roughed out, all sanded up. I'm still gonna do the final palm sanding on it. This one, I angled it a little bit. I put kind of a curve to it. Most of the ones I do are square, and it just kind of works out like that. Like, it's actually easier to keep them square instead of trying to do like a round palm swell and make it all look nice and perfectly round. It's kind of challenging. So when I first started doing these, I just left them square and I just chamfered the edges, and it ends up looking kind of cool. I haven't seen anybody else leave them square like that, so I don't know if that's kind of my trademark or not, but I think it looks sweet. So yeah, heads fitted, everything's sanded all down. Now it's palm sander time, and that'll there's still like some lines that'll like round everything over nice, and all the scratch marks from the sander is what you're trying to get out. So we're getting rid of the sanding lines, and there's other lines where there's kind of like sharper edges that we're gonna round all that over, and we're gonna make the palm swell look real nice. So now it's a bunch of palm sanding. All right, that's it. That's how I make an axe handle. Everybody does it different. There's lots of guys out there that are doing it better than I am and make a lot more than I am. This is just how I chose to do it, and I feel like they turn out pretty good. There's a lot of guys out there that plan the whole process better, and their handles probably turn out a little bit nicer, but I'm happy with these. They're a lot of fun to make, and I'm going to go ahead and half this head, and then I'll do a shot of the axe when it's completely done. Alright guys, here it is, finished product. It always looks better with oil. I feel like it turned out alright. I've done ones that were better, but this one's not bad at all. So this is a 4-pound plum Rockaway. Might be a little overweight. It's probably more like 4 1/4. The wedge on this just turned out really nice. So yeah, that's my video on how to make an axe handle. Maybe next time I do it, I'll do a curved handle, and we'll do like a Tasmanian pattern or a Connecticut or something like that. Those get a little bit trickier because the curves and all that, but I know I'm going to get the question, is it for sale? And I kind of made this one for myself, but I mean, anything's for sale, you know what I mean, if the price is right. So if you're interested, just leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching.